It is not fair. Across the country, my office hears from, it's not just New Jersey. Across the country, people are frustrated who feel like nobody won't listen to them. We get calls from across the country. My staff doesn't say, you're not from New Jersey, so we're not going to talk to you. My staff is just incredible people I have surrounding me in the office who remind me of the values I treasure. And so they wanted me to include tonight people not from New Jersey, because again, we hear from thousands of people in my state and so many around the country. Here's Kayanan Spooner from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, who writes me. My name is Kayana Spooner, and I live in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. I'm 63 years old. My husband, Joe, and I have 5 children and 3 grandchildren and live a wonderful life as our family is growing. God bless you and your family. We owned businesses and worked to contribute Social Security for ourselves and our employees. We did all the...
Last night, Cy Booker shattered the record for the longest filibuster in Senate history. And shortly after, I had the pleasure and the honor of speaking with Senator Booker about not only what went into his filibuster, the emotions he felt during it, but also what our plan of action is after what was such a historic, impactful, and inspirational event for so many. But there were also some who were not too happy that Cy Booker spent 25 straight hours ripping into Donald Trump. And, as you can expect, those people who are unhappy are the propagandists at the Fox propaganda outlet and, of course, Donald Trump himself, both of which had plenty of complaints about the senator, and really Senate Democrats at large, that we are going to get into. And then, check out what I am so proud of, an incredible interview with Cy Booker. Before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into my interview with Cy Booker, I want to show you what Fox had to say about his filibuster for a couple of reasons that we'll discuss after.
To anyone?
Nobody.
So he just wants national
Maybe
attention.
he has a few fans.
Well, there are a couple other senators who occasionally ask him questions, and he yields the floor. But by yielding for a question, then he still controls the floor. This is not a filibuster, by the way.
And just over and over the talking points. If you want to get the American people attention, you don't do it on the floor of the Senate. You go and you start talking with voters. I'm not sure he's going to...
town hall, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to get much...
So I talked to Senator Booker about this in the interview that we are just about to check out, but I found it so funny watching this clip. I just actually watched it multiple times because I had to laugh at the ridiculous irony of their statement saying that, oh, no one's paying attention to this filibuster. It won't even matter. Well, Fox broadcasts it live to their millions of viewers, who are potentially having their minds changed by Cy Booker talking about Donald Trump's attacks on Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and the programs in our government that keep people safe, fed, and housed, saying it's not a moment while they're talking about the moment that it is. That is just the cognitive dissonance that is constant at the Fox propaganda outlet and exactly shows why this event was so impactful, why Cy Booker's filibuster is a turning point right now. And it is why I was so proud to interview him. And I want to take a look at that right here. Senator, this morning on Fox, I'm sorry you were this tired of me bringing up Fox, but the hosts were doing their normal shtick, which is lying. And they were talking about your filibuster saying, this is not really a moment and it doesn't matter. Again, that's a lie. This moment did matter. It was historic. It was impactful. It was hopeful. It is bringing excitement and joy to people who desperately need it right now. That's what we feel. And I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, that's great to hear. But what everyone wants to know is, what does this mean to you? What does this historic moment mean to you, Senator? Well, I feel wonderful. We sort of stepped out there, took a bit of a risk with the hope to ignite some energy, and to center people that don't get a chance to speak on that floor, their voices, their hurt, their anger, their fear, They're challenges that so many New Jerseyans share, their stories. Send me people from around the country. So here was a chance to center what this is all about and to do something different. Or, as I talked about throughout, as to what John Lewis would say, is to get into some good trouble. Yeah, and we need more folks getting into good trouble. What would you like to see other elected Democrats, or just folks out there who are feeling the same passion, but also, rightful indignation towards this administration? What do you want to see them doing out there? Channel that energy, do something creative. Doesn't have to be big. It could be small. I think this has got to be a movement moment where more of us galvanize together to challenge what he's doing. And I don't know if we're win or lose. And again, the man I talked so much about, I don't know if he knew whether that freedom ride would work or that sit-in would work. But he still put himself out there. And it doesn't have to be big. You can speak out even if that 100 people hear you. If already, try something different. And the more we do this, and this is one day, one tactic, it's more than one day. But I'm going to continue to be creative. I'm going to go back into my state and try to show up at rallies, do some different types of town halls and engagements. So we all have an obligation because the threats of what they might try to do, ripping away Medicaid for 70, 80, 90 million Americans with the giving tax cuts to the wealthiest who just don't need it. They don't need our resources. There's so many of these issues that this moment demands we do more. Senator Booker, this was, I hope, your last interview of the night. I want to say from the bottom of my heart and for everyone who's watching this, thank you so much. Thank you for fighting for us. Thank you so much. Encourage me more than you know. It was truly an honor to get to speak with Senator Booker after such a historic event. Not only because he broke that filibuster record, but because it was a record previously held by Strom Thurmond since 1957. A segregationist, opposing a Civil Rights Act, was the one holding that record in the Senate. Now broken and held by Cy Booker. This is a moment to fight back against the history of oppression in this country that Donald Trump is trying to cover up and essentially destroy. That is what so much of this administration is about. It is about whitewashing our history. It is about changing fundamentally what America has always been and should always be about, which is about progress in the face of our many failings, our many shortcomings. Something Cy Booker said in his speech, if you have not had your heart broken by America, you don't truly love it. And that is exactly what we saw from Cy Booker. Love of country, so much so that he would put his body on the line for 25 straight hours of standing and talking to fight for his country. Something that we know Donald Trump would never even consider doing. And it is why he is having a little bit of a temper tantrum. As we can see in this Truth Social post right here, Trump wrote Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul will hopefully get on the Republican bandwagon for a change and fight the Democrats' wild and flagrant push to penalize Canada for the sale into our country of large amounts of fentanyl by tariffing the value of this horrible and deadly drug in order to make it more costly to distribute and buy. They are playing with the lives of Americans and right into the hands of the radical left, Democrats and drug cartels. The Senate bill is just a ploy of the Dems to show and expose the weakness of certain Republicans, namely these four, and that it is not going anywhere because the House will never approve it, and I, as your president, will never sign it. Why are they allowing fentanyl to pour into our country, unchecked and without penalty? What is wrong with them other than suffering from Trump derangement syndrome? Who can want this to happen to our beautiful families? And why? To the people of Kentucky, Alaska, and Maine, please contact these senators and get them to finally adhere to Republican values and ideals. They have been extremely difficult to deal with and unbelievably disloyal to hardworking Majority Leader John Thune in the Republican Party itself. Make America great again. So Donald Trump and the rest of his stooges are clearly having themselves a bit of a freak out over what has happened in the Senate over the past 48 hours. Of course, Cy Booker's filibuster, but also pushback to Donald Trump's tariffs, something Cy Booker talked about a lot in his 25 hours. You think 25 hours? You got to fill a lot of time in there. But unfortunately, there's more than enough to speak about. And the rising prices that we see as a direct result of the stupidest trade war that has ever taken place in history is something Cy Booker continued to come back to as he talked about the cost of living that will only rise. If Donald Trump gets his way and is allowed to attack Medicaid, is allowed to attack Social Security and continues to come after the programs that matter most. And he made this raw, emotional plea throughout the 25 hours of his filibuster that really was just so impactful. Just so many. And I'm sure you have not watched all 25 hours. If you have, then I commend you as much as I commend Senator Booker, because that is a long time to do anything. But there is one specific clip I think stood out above the rest that I want to play for you right here.
It is not fair. Across the country, my office hears from, it's not just New Jersey. Across the country, people who are frustrated, who feel like nobody wants to listen to them. We get calls from across the country. My staff doesn't say, you're not from New Jersey, so we're not going to talk to you. My staff is just incredible people I have surrounding me in the office who remind me of the values I treasure. And so they wanted me to include tonight people not from New Jersey, because again, we hear from thousands of people in my state and so many around the country. Here's Kayanan Spooner from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, who writes me. My name is Kayana Spooner, and I live in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. I'm 63 years old. My husband, Joe, and I have 5 children and 3 grandchildren and live a wonderful life as our family is growing. God bless you and your family. We owned businesses and worked to contribute Social Security for ourselves and our employees. We did all the things we could do to secure our future and contribute to the larger community of those in need. We felt that we're living the American dream until one day in 2012, I know this personally with my dad. I feel for you, Ms. Spooner. Till one day in 2012, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's is a degenerate Parkinson's disease is a degenerative brain disease that progresses over time. Sorry, I'm thinking about my dad. It is unrelenting and affects motor and nerve processes. Loss of benefits will have a direct and daily effect on me and my family as we navigate the medical needs we will be facing. I will need progressive and comprehensive care as I age. I will need medication every single day of my life. And I will need the security of a generous society to care for me. Millions of others join me there. Please, Senator Booker, please protect my Social Security. I just thank God that my mom had the resources to take care of my dad. And I watched that degenerative disease take from his life for 20 years and how much it cost, the thousands of dollars it cost my mom to take care of him. I know my friend Andy Kim, who's in the Senate right now, is facing health challenges with his father. I know so many people personally whose parents have Alzheimer's. I know so many Americans who are not powerful, they're not rich. I know so many Americans who live in fear every day that one little thing will happen to them that will destabilize their financial well-being. And now those millions of Americans, because of a president and a man named Musk, are driving fear into them. These people who are hanging on by a thread in their lives are facing the people they love the most, who are struggling with the diseases that so many of us in this body have been affected by. They are now worried. They're writing me letters with words like fear and terror. They're talking about staying up at night and not being able to sleep because they don't have a president that comforts them. They have a president that talks down to them, that lies about the services that they rely on. What is this? It is not normal. It is not normal. This is America How can the most powerful people in our land not comfort others, not tell them they have nothing to fear but fear itself, not tell them to have malice towards none but have charity towards all? What kind of man is in our White House that makes fun of the disabled, who lies so much that the fact checkers lose count, that minimizes the pain and the suffering? Where you have cabinet secretaries that are billionaires themselves that say, if my mom misses a Social Security check, but if somebody else complains about it, they're probably a fraudster. These people are not fraudsters. They're hurting. They're afraid. They're worried. For God's sake, this is America. And God, it gut wrenches me when I hear people not as privileged as me, and I'm not Musk and Doge, but my mom had the resources and the family to support her as she watched my dad die of Parkinson's disease. But this person's writing in, she herself has Parkinson's. She underlines and bolds the part of her letter. She says, and I'll read it again because, Spooner, I want you from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, to know you are seen, to know you are heard. Loss of benefits will have a direct and daily effect on me and my family as we navigate the medical needs we are going to be facing. I will need progressive and comprehensive care as I age. I will need medication every single day of my life. I know this. I know you will. I know you will. I will need the security of a generous society to care for me. A generous society to do the basic for families in this kind of struggle. Millions of others join me there. Protect my Social Security, Senator Booker. I tell you, I am going to fight for your Social Security. I'm going to fight to protect the agency. I'm going to fight against unnecessary cuts that hurt the service it gives. And today into tomorrow, I'm going to stand as long as I can. As long as I can, I'm going to stand and read stories like this because you are seen, you are heard. Your voices are more important than any of the 100 of us.
This is the type of emotion we need to be bringing to this moment. It rises to this moment. This is how I feel every day. This is how you feel every day, I'm sure. This is how the people in your life feel every day. We need to meet this moment with the same anger, that righteous indignation that we are all feeling constantly. And that is what Senator Cy Booker did. He channeled that for 25 straight hours. 25. A historic night last night. I was so proud to be a part of it, and I thank you. I thank you so much for giving me this platform that I am able to cover these historic nights. There are a lot of lows. Last night was a high in the face of a very, very scary reality. But we have hope going forward. And I'm excited to bring as much of that hope as I can to this channel every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments.